This video is going to be a film study look at the quite unbelievable third quarter that the Lions and Seahawks offenses gave us the pleasure to view on Monday Night Football. Of course, the Lions were able to prevail 42-29, but the third quarter, I think, is borderline historic. To my research this morning, the NFL record for points scored in a quarter, I think, is 41. Feel free to do your own research. Go find that. Let me know in the comments section if that is inaccurate. If you recall, the Lions have a 21-7 lead at the half. By the second play of the fourth quarter, it's 35-27. Yes, the Lions are still in the lead, but it had become obvious by that point that the Seahawks offense had figured some things out, had definitely worn down the Lions defense, and I think attacked them in key specific spots. This is going to be a slightly different film study video for me. It'll probably stretch the limits of my ability and potential to encapsulate the game. I think I've got 24 plays queued up here, so it's going to be incredibly long. I will do team-specific film study videos, Jared Goff, DK Metcalf, the Lions' defensive coverages overall, later Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening into Wednesday. If you're not aware, the third quarter had 5 possessions that resulted in 5 touchdowns by the 3 teams. Now, the fifth of those 5 touchdowns, the Seahawks' third, in fact, occurred on the second play of the fourth quarter, Kenneth Walker's 21-yard touchdown run. But the fact is, every possession that originated in the third quarter resulted in a touchdown. 34 plays, 365 yards between the two teams. Officially, only 27 points scored in the quarter, so far below the 41 points needed for the record. But the Seahawks are just outside the red zone as the third quarter finished. Damn near could have had 34 or 35 points scored in a 15-minute stretch. It's pretty unbelievable. As we get to the film here, what we'll focus on is how incredibly sharp Jared Goff was, how the Lions playmakers were able to have an impact. Different guys, in fact, David Montgomery breaking the tackle by Devin Witherspoon, really running him over for a 40-yard gain that kind of kick-started them. Jameson Williams on the 70-yard touchdown catch on an over concept. Also, I'll make an aside here during the video about Tim Patrick, his potential to help this Lions offense in similar ways to what Josh Reynolds did last year. On the Seahawks side, I really think they did a great job offensively scheming things up. I'll try to prove that in this video and some other videos later in the week. I'll try to get to a Geno Smith film study video Wednesday. Just the sheer number of passes he threw, I think it was 56 or 58, is going to make that difficult. But I can find 10 or 12 plays that I think represent how quickly he was able to diagnose what the Lions were doing post-snap based upon the pre-snap look that was given. I think that Seattle also took advantage of some tendencies by the Lions in terms of their coverage, their over-reliance on man. I think Aaron Glenn's got to take a serious look at some of their tendencies and how easily the Seahawks were able to manipulate them from a coverage standpoint. Additional to that, they wore down and attacked the Lions' defensive end outside linebacker spot opposite Aiden Hutchinson. And I'll show you some of the deficiencies in this video that I think kind of illustrate that. I think Geno Smith played at an incredibly high level last night. Not just his recognitions and his throws, but his ability to move and maintain poise and discipline and his technique while throwing the football, I thought was pretty unbelievable to watch. So we'll pick some plays here from the third quarter, but I'd have to set the stage a little bit. This first half forced fumble by Jack Campbell really allows the Lions to get some separation. Again, 21-7 at the half, maintain that lead while the Seahawks offense is surging in that third quarter and then into the fourth quarter as well. Big hit by Jack Campbell forces the fumble. Alex Anzalone kind of gets trucked a little bit by DK. I think Anzalone had just hit the deck. It's a slant on the backside. Again, this is first quarter, about a minute left in the first quarter. DK Metcalf giving them problems. He's off to a great start this year. The Lions' tactical decisions, if you ask me, basically leaving him one-on-one with Carlton Davis III so much. There's a lot to be said about that. I think that you cannot just allow Geno Smith and the offensive coordinator and DK to know that it's going to be man over so many locations on the field. I did think Carlton Davis III competed, certainly got called for 2 or 3 penalties, so say about that what you will. It ain't easy dealing with a guy who's 6'4", 235, and can run the way that DK does. I think he's one of the most difficult matchups in the league. But this was a huge play. It set the stage for the Lions to get that 2-score lead at the half and then retain it, or regain it, I should say, multiple times in the third quarter and then the fourth. So we'll get started with the third quarter analysis. And this is going to be A great pass defense by CD3 over the middle, damn near an interception. It's early in the third quarter. I think about 12 minutes left in the third quarter. You got this RPO type look where you've got one H-back tight end running out into the flats behind a second one who theoretically could run a wheel route. Geno Smith sliding to his right, tries to get the ball to DK. And one of the few times where I felt like in off coverage, these guys were driving on routes. CD3, look, that ball's thrown actually behind DK, in my opinion, as Geno Smith is sliding out to his right. So that's a 2nd and 8. And this is, after that impressive play, this is disappointing if you're a Lions fan. A simple drag underneath on a 3rd and 8. Again, we are just under 12 minutes left in the third quarter. So 3 minutes into the half, essentially. Too much space and room. This is a design play. The Seahawks, I think this is the 3rd time that they've run this. I wish I had time to literally categorize every offensive play by the Ravens, the Lions, and the Seahawks. They oftentimes will just go block this. In this case, it looks like these guys are running routes, but check the adaptation by Tyler Lockett at the bottom of the screen. I think this is all focused on getting DK the ball, and I think you've got 2 elements of this for the Lions that are poor from a coverage standpoint. Down here at the bottom side of the screen, I think you've got a blown coverage or some type of miscommunication between the outside corner and the nickel defender, number 1. Number 2, you've got 2 players wide open here. This does not look good. Maybe one of the reasons why, I don't believe this, but maybe one of the reasons why Aaron Glenn's defense can be looked at as simplistic at times is when they do try to be multiple, they have issues with covering up areas of the field and not leaving players wide open. I'm not necessarily sure that I really believe that. We're going to skip forward plays here. I'm not going to go over every single play. Can't do that, obviously. Going to get 2 angles of this one. 16-yard completion to Noah Fant over the middle who got hurt at a certain point during the game. This is after, I believe, a 6-yard run. They stayed in 12 personnel. You can see 2 tight ends up to the top side of the field. It's going to be a mesh concept with the running back releasing to the boundary side. 2 underneath crossers, Bobo and the other tight end, I think Barner. And then Fant is going to sit in the middle of the field. Basically, once those 2 drags sift out or work themselves out, Fant is able to get open between the 2 inside linebackers. End zone angle, same play. You can see they're hurrying up to get to the line. I did not think that the Lions' pass rush was really consequential over the course of the 60-minute game, but particularly in this third quarter. There was a moment where they looked really tired, and I thought that the edge defenders, particularly opposite Aiden Hutchinson, were having a ton of trouble. So this is now, we're down inside the red zone. The touchdown pass from Geno Smith to Barner, the rookie tight end. This is a really well-designed play. It's 12 personnel, and so give credit to the Seahawks for executing it. 88 is going to run left to right on our screen. Something that has continued to be a thorn for the Lions is these play-action concepts with run action to one side and a tight end running opposite of it. Just a little drag under concept, if you ask me. Their propensity to play man is really causing issues, and the Seahawks, I feel like, consistently took advantage of that last night. Watch Kirby Joseph's reaction to this tight end, and watch the DB's reaction to Barner 88. These 2 appear to be trying to work on Bobo. I think Anzalone is assigned to this tight end man, but he's now got split flow, so the running back coming at him, tight end crossing his face, and you can see the separation. I did not think Anzalone played to his standard last night. I'm a huge fan of his, and I love doing film study videos. I will not necessarily be doing one this weekend or this week because I don't think he played really well. These 2 here are helping deal with Bobo. Anzalone's eyes are flashing from the tight end to the running back. You may have seen it on the end zone angle. Play action. Also, they had a pulling guard, which is designed to pull and hold Jack Campbell, open up that space. The Seahawks come back to this a little bit later on in the fourth quarter, and it's wide open once again. It's a DB in that situation who is unable to play the under or the drag route by the tight end. So that touchdown gets them 21-14, I believe. And now here we are, the Lions' first possession, starting with about 10 minutes left in the third quarter. A brilliant example of how difficult it is to deal with Montgomery, number 1. Number 2, Goff getting through his reads. He was moved off of his spot, I thought, multiple times last night, still able to find people. Sliding to his left just a little bit. There's really nothing here. Tariq Woolen is working back to this route that's emanating from the other side of the field, so Goff can't throw that. All he really has is the two underneath concepts. Hits Montgomery. It's a 1st and 10. I think this is the first play of the drive, to be honest with you. Tremendous collision. I mean, that's Devin Witherspoon, who is a violent football player. And as an aside, look at all the bodies that hit the deck. This was a physical play. Watching it live, it looked brutal, and it looks even more so watching it here. I almost feel a little bit guilty about enjoying the play so much because so many of these guys hit the deck during the course of the play. Montgomery's had some incredible moments through 4 games. You can see Goff here working through his reads. Just check out his eyes. Try to focus on him for a moment here. I thought he went from here to whatever is off screen to our left, his right. Decided to come back all the way from one hash over to the top of the numbers to Montgomery. Hammers Witherspoon, who actually, look at Witherspoon's commitment to getting back involved in the play. I'm a big fan of his. Did a film study video of him a couple of weeks ago. I think I've done 3 at this point in his young career. Trying to get back involved in the play. That's him all the way back over there trying to run down Montgomery after getting trucked. Pretty amazing if you ask me. This is going to be Tim Patrick. Again, we're skipping forward plays. Like a Z under levels concept. Notice Goff moved off of his spot. I thought there was a chance to take this to the house. Patrick certainly doesn't look like he has tremendous acceleration compared to what I saw from him earlier in his career with Denver. I think St. Brown a little bit deeper in route. Patrick a little Z under. It's very similar to some routes that Laporta runs from the outside. Goff was looking to the right initially. He's now come back to the left, and I think he's looking here for a moment. Doesn't like what he sees for whatever reason. As he's sliding to his right, he's able to pick up Patrick right to left, top to bottom on our screen. Somewhat innocuous 5 or 6 yard in route turns into a 23-yard gain. Pretty cool. The recognition, the quickness that Goff. I felt like Goff had to go deeper in his reads than Geno Smith last night. There's no real analysis there necessarily. I'm not saying who played better or played worse. Goff was 19 of 19. It's pretty ridiculous. But I feel like Goff had to get to his third read more often than Geno Smith did. So I think there was more coverage variability by the Seahawks displayed throughout the course of the game than the Lions did. So here we are with the trick play. And I will digress here for a moment. I'm going to show the play and then get to some reverses that I think really kind of set this up. Goff looks so calm as this ball is in the air. Really cool. I'll let it flow through one more time. Notice as St. Brown goes on his reverse path that you also get a puller in Laporta to the edge, giving the appearance that they actually are intending to run a reverse to the side where the running back ran. And then all of these guys, Witherspoon, fast-flowing, second-level defenders, fast-flowing, Tariq Woolen, fast-flowing. So the Lions saw this on film. Jameson Williams is designed to just shield whoever's there. I think he's just another layer of this. If a defender, in the case of maybe Tariq Woolen or Devin Witherspoon, was able to hold on the backside and then get to defend Jared Goff, actually, that guy, I think Jameson Williams, was there to act as a shield route in essence. I want to talk about these at that play as it relates to some of these reverses. So you do ignore Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's trying to block the edge defender here. He's not doing anything wrong. The reverse is following or going against the running back flow. Now, this one happens to be under center, but check out the running back flow. This is first play of overtime, by the way, against the Rams. So the running back flow downhill to the right-hand side and the reverse by Khalif Raymond down here. This one really softened the Rams up, if you recall. If you're a Seahawks fan and didn't watch it, understand. The point is, these reverses have been tremendously effective through 3 weeks. I think averaging 12 to 13 yards per play. And in a key moment in the third quarter, they go to a reverse pass, which is very similar to the way this play looks with Jameson Williams, which was earlier in the game against the Rams, if I recall. So you got guard pulling opposite running back hesitating for a moment, counter step, and then coming opposite to the actual flow, the reverse. Tight end working here post snap, and then looping back around for Jameson Williams. I think the timing of this one really makes it obvious or clear to me that the Lions, were trying to give the illusion to the Seahawks that this was a reverse, and then Goff works opposite of it. Jameson Williams being there, in my opinion, to be a shield, basically block out any defender after he took a huge shot from 50, the edge defender, I think proves or is the final nail in the coffin for me that was all designed off of the reverse looks. It's obviously a design play, but I think it's designed off of the reverse looks that we had seen so far through 3 weeks. So that one reestablishes the 2-score lead, and then the Seahawks started to get things going on the ground. It was a little surprising because of how ineffective the run game was in the first half. I think this kind of tells you how worn down that Lions defense was at this time. The hurry-up had an impact, even in the first half. It's 12 personnel, by the way. They're expanding the edge defender. I think the Lions have got to do something opposite Aiden Hutchinson. At this point, I don't think the answer is in the building. Let's just put it that way. So you got the edge defender being blocked by one tight end. Second tight end who went in motion is working his way through that gap. Wide receiver has blocked the frontside inside linebacker. I think it's Jack Campbell. And so Kenneth Walker off to the races. I think it's 27 or 28 yards. They're lucky that he didn't take this one to the house. It's a tight ace alignment. So receivers on the line of scrimmage. 2 tight ends are off the line. I wonder about the run-pass ratio of this formation with this tight alignment, this compressed formation. Bobo, big, strong wide receiver, had him on the field. So a little bit of a pre-snap tell there, but I didn't think that the Lions were adjusting much at all to formations that the Seahawks ran. I feel like the coverages were called pre-snap or pre-huddle, and then the Lions just pretty much ran it. Could be wrong there. Moving forward, this is a 3rd and 8, missed opportunity for the Lions. I think you've got a 2-score lead at this point, and Kirby Joseph unable to complete the sack. Also, Geno Smith, just credit to him, the poise that he played with, the accuracy. Hutchinson is just pressing the tackle here. You can see he's upended him. Unable to get there and finish off after Kirby Joseph misses the tackle high. It's very difficult to tell some of these jersey numbers for the Lions because of the print. I think that's Rodriguez and Geno Smith, while he's being harassed or chased down by Hutchinson, able to complete it to JSN for 11 yards. Truly brilliant play, if you ask me. Same play, end zone angle, just so you can see it. Making it look like man. Here is Kirby Joseph. He's going to be the blitzer off the edge. So credit to the Lions for trying something different. It ends up being a 4 under, 2 deep. So there's your 2 deep. There's your 4 under. So it's a cover 2 that is slightly anomalous in that you normally have 5 underneath droppers. I think Geno Smith, the yards per throw maybe weren't that high because it took 56, 58 throws to get to 395 yards. I think he played extremely well from a processing standpoint. I believe that the Seahawks offensive staff put a lot on him this week in terms of recognizing things pre-snap and take advantage of it with post-snap confirmation to make quick throws. In that case, he had to fight off a potential blitzer and then get the ball to JSN. I told you guys this video was going to go on quite long, so my apologies. I feel like the third quarter is worthy of it. From here on out, the rest of this week, it will be player-centric film study videos for either team. Nice completion over the middle to Lockett. We're on the same possession. This is 2nd and 16. I think it's after a sack. Lockett is here. He's going to settle for a moment and then juke Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell veers to the outside. Lockett runs over top of him into the empty or vacated space in the middle of the field. Geno Smith is making this throw on the run. It is absolutely wide open, don't get me wrong, in between the hashes. Ends up being a 29-yard gain. Pretty cool play. And then the touchdown by Walker, 1-yard touchdown run, closes them to 28-20. I just don't understand the decision here at all. Not with, to my knowledge, there's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. So you're talking about 18 minutes of gameplay, a lot of variables between this point in time and the end of the game. I don't think you need to get off track here. Multiple things can happen. Players on the lines can fumble on a kickoff. They can turn the football over. And I have never understood. First of all, it's a great throw by Geno Smith. Is it a catch by DK Metcalf? I'm not sure. They called it incomplete. I don't even know that it's a pass interference. There's definitely contact up there. Those guys were competing. I felt like Carlton Davis III initiated this contact here, and he recognizes the route that's coming. DK, I don't think pushes off at all. He just uses his size and his shoulder to create some separation. I wonder about Carlton Davis III and Terrion Arnold's cleats. It seems like they slip a lot. Now, part of it is they're both handsy, at least so far this year. So that could be a factor as well. But I'm focusing on the throw by Geno Smith. Amazing throw over here to give DK Metcalf the chance to catch it out of bounds. And what I mean by that is DK Metcalf's upper body and the ball are located out of bounds, but it certainly looked like his feet were really close to getting in bounds. They called the defensive pass interference on Carlton Davis III. And so one of the things about DK, I will talk about this down here in a moment. There's a blown coverage down here for the Lions. About DK last night is because he got so many targets and so much activity, he came off the field a lot. And so he's off the field on this ensuing the second attempt at a two-point conversion. The Lions are keeping one of the safeties in the box. Wouldn't you? It's backside one-on-one with Jake Bobo. I think Geno Smith has given him a chance to try to catch it. Bobo unable to separate from Carlton Davis III. Watch these guys trying to communicate, and then two players go with one. If Geno Smith's looking down here to the bottom side, pretty easy opportunity to throw the football out here to Tyler Lockett. Both of these defenders really focused on one. The over-reliance on man, I think, was exploited many times. In this case, Geno Smith wasn't looking to that side, targeted Bobo on the backside. So 28-20 Lions lead. And then, of course, they pushed it to 35-20 immediately. 6 seconds of gameplay later. This is a freaking amazing throw by Jared Goff because of where Jameson Williams is when he throws the football. I'll give you the end zone angle, then we'll come back to the all-22. The first play of the ensuing drive. Williams is off here to our right-hand side, the left-hand side of the offense, and he's going to run kind of like this over concept. Laporta has to slow down, gear down to stay away from Jameson Williams. Look where Goff is on the hash, and Jameson Williams hasn't even reached the hash. Goff is throwing this football so far out in front. He processed the coverage quickly, got it to Williams in stride, and it was over. If he wasn't high-stepping from the 30, then he scores, by 15 yards. Credit to Devin Witherspoon for never giving up on the play. Let's run the all-22 one time so you can see a little bit of what's happening. I think it's Rayshon Jenkins on the blitz here on the backside. So the Seahawks are kind of selling out here to stop the run, in my opinion. Blitz is picked up, gives Goff the opportunity to set his feet, throw the football over the top. Awesome stuff. Jameson Williams, I think, came into the game at 11 catches on like 22 targets, 50% or maybe a little bit less than 50%. Really cool for me to be able to see him make a big play like this to have an impact. Pushes the Lions lead back to 35-20. At that point, I reflected back on some of the things that Lions and Seahawks fans had said during my preview, some of the comments that were made during my preview and film study videos last week, which is every single Lions-Seahawks game is high scoring, and I focused on the defense. I'm like, these two defenses are improved. Of course, there's both teams missing at least 3 starters. I was like, these defenses are improved. It's going to be low scoring. Let's look for 27-21. And here we go. It's wild and crazy in the third quarter. Seahawks weren't done, obviously. Look in that quarter and branching into the fourth quarter. The Seahawks ran 25 offensive plays for 220 yards. I think really had a bead on the Lions. This play on their ensuing possession were late third quarter, about 1:40 left in the third quarter. They know that they've got man, and so you're going to see a pin down. Now, we start to have it revealed the difficulties that the Lions are going to have with their edge defenders on the other side. I think it's Onwuzurike up there. I could be wrong. It doesn't really matter who it is. The point is you can't get reached from the alignment you were on there and give up the edge so easily. Kenneth Walker III really got it going in the second half. The Seahawks finished out rushing the Lions, which is probably a little shocking. In any case, Geno Smith has checked to the run concept. They know what they want to do. They're going to pin down with JSN, Charles Cross is going to pull to the outside. And yes, believe it or not, the left guard is going to reach this defensive end right here. Look at the difference in alignment. I'm not trying to pick on the guy. I think it's Onwuzurike. Again, the jersey numbers are really poor, but you can't reach yourself with your step and get reached by a guard who is probably 2 to 2.5 full yards lined up to your inside. Makes life really difficult for the inside linebacker. Jack Campbell misses a tackle. Cool. The actual breakdown here is your 5 technique defensive end is getting reached by the left guard. That's unacceptable. It cannot occur. And if you're going to have a successful defense, blame the linebackers for missing the tackle all you want. It's obvious they missed the tackle. This right here is the breakdown on this play because there is absolutely no edge set at all. I would additionally say to that Anzalone needs to pretty much just line up head up on JSN. He can't get pinned down by a smaller wide receiver in this manner, even just for a moment. He should have been outside leverage, in my opinion, but the Lions are trying to cover interior gaps, and so Alex Anzalone's gap is not outside of JSN technically. DJ Reader gets a sack here. We're inside of a minute, I believe, left in the third quarter. Again, Aiden Hutchinson, who didn't get a sack, is just jacking up the right tackle. Credit to the right tackle and the Seahawks pass pro. They had extreme difficulties with penalties, giving up sacks and pressures in various games this year. You can see Hutchinson is just walking him back, actually driving him back. DJ Reader did the same thing pretty much with the left guard and forced a fumble that, fortunately for the Seahawks, they were able to recover. This is a difficult play to watch. The Lions are substituting so much on defense. They've taken Jack Campbell off. Malcolm Rodriguez is totally isolated here in this too high safety look. Man, the Seahawks, it seemed to me that when the Lions made a coverage shift, and what I mean is not on an individual play, but from one play to the next, playing a lot of man, go zone. The Seahawks exploited it. And then when the inverse happened, Lions playing some zone, play some man. The Seahawks always seem to be in the right play call. I have to attribute that. Look, the offensive coordinator had them prepared, but I have to attribute that to Geno Smith. What he saw on the field lined up with the film study and the preparation that they had. He looked to the right down here for a moment. I didn't pause it, but he looked down here to the right-hand side, comes back to the screen. Look how isolated Rodriguez is. There is no one else, probably 14, 17 yards, something like that, to his downside, and then to the top side, you're probably talking about 12 yards of separation, maybe even more. Pretty unbelievable that much space was created just by a simple motion to create an empty formation. This is the same play, end zone angle. So after Reader's sack creates a 2nd and 14, now you've got this huge screen to Shenault, who's an underrated guy, very physical. Putting him at running back is, I think, a great option for the Seahawks because of his receiving skills. How often is he actually going to get a handoff back there? Who knows, but he's really good with the ball in his hands, in my opinion. So we now move to the fourth quarter, 2 plays into the fourth quarter to be precise, and I think the limitations of the edge defender / outside linebackers for the Lions are really revealed here. So on the motion by the tight end, this outside linebacker hybrid is going to step back. He's basically stacking into a 4-3. They have their under front going on where they have 4 defensive linemen, Sam linebacker set to the field, remaining 2 inside linebackers. Watch what these 2 do. I think it's Pascal and Neiman. I may be wrong on both of those numbers. Watch what they do on the run concept to this side as Walker tries to wind it back. There's just no ability to adjust after the play. It's a really nice job by the right tackle who engages the defensive end, Pascal, if you want to call him a defensive end, and then works up to the second level to get in Newman's face. That stacking element just opened up all of this flow because of the lack of athleticism here and here, in my opinion. If you have Davenport and Derek Barnes there, you probably defend that much better. Kenneth Walker III is super talented. He's an excellent running back who I think the Seahawks are going to be able to rely on over the course of the season. The point is, both of these teams offensively exploited the other's weakness in a way that showed up, particularly in the third quarter. The Seahawks had a great plan. I should say the Seahawks had a great plan, but they also implemented it well despite being down by 2 scores many times. I thought the Lions put the football on the ground in terms of Geno Smith earlier in the game. I think Hutchinson had a sack where the ball, Hutchinson or someone had a sack, excuse me, where the ball ended up on the ground. I can't remember exactly who it was, so forgive me for that. The Reader sack here where the ball's on the ground, they're not able to recover it. The very next play, that screen hit hard. 2nd and 14, you have an opportunity to get a stop and really put this Seahawks offense, the Seahawks team, up against the wall. They responded to every situation. The 42-29 score, first of all, fun to watch. That's what people want. I guess a lot of scores, a lot of intrigue and drama. We certainly had enough of that throughout the whole game, but the third quarter specifically. I think the 42-29 score doesn't adequately represent the game flow and competition that we saw on Monday night. It may have been my most fun football game to watch in the last couple of years, to be real. As a defensive person, there was a point in the third quarter where I initially was hesitant to enjoy it because I oftentimes root for the defenses. I'll be real with you. And that sounds crazy. Sometimes I don't root for teams. I just root for the defenses. I would enjoy watching a 7-3 game at my core. However, by the Seahawks' second possession in the third quarter, I just realized, I was like, let me just enjoy what this is. And I think that you guys, Lions and Seahawks fans, probably already did. Rooting for your team, yes, but there definitely was an element leading up to the game whereby fans of both teams were saying this is going to be a shootout. It always is. 48-45 early in 2022, I think week 2 or week 3. 37-31 last year, 42-29 this year. Perhaps it's too soon to say this, but I hope these two teams get to play each other again in the playoffs. I would be looking forward for a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. I hope these two teams play an NFC Championship game because it just looks like they are destined to have incredible slugfests. Let me know in the comments section if it's too soon for you to be able to make that statement. I can be generally impartial because my professional background kind of taught me that from a platform standpoint, meaning that's my first reaction to everything. It was super fun to watch for me and see the third quarter offenses just explode, even though at my football coaching background is on the defensive side and would normally reject that. You guys let me know what you think of the video. Certainly a different style than what I normally do, focusing on players. I will do a film study video on Jared Goff Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, Wednesday, Geno Smith film study, and the Seahawks offense where I think they were manipulating and take advantage of a lot of the Lions coverages, particularly in the first half and then in the third quarter. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Lions fans or other Seahawks fans for that matter would enjoy this film study video, this look at how crazy the third quarter was when really no defense was displayed at all, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.